Hey guys, my name is Antonio. We're talking about the Nafta, is the North American Free Trade Agreement. The treaty was signed in November 1993 and it entered into force on January 5th in 1994. Currently, Nafta members exchange about 2.6 billion in product per day and equivalent to about 108 million for hour. The objectives the Nafta is the next. The point one. For favor trade liberalization, eliminate of tariff and non-tariff barrier to trade and investment between Canada, United States and Mexico. Promote conditions of free competition in the free trade area. The point number 3 is the protect intellectual property rights in members. The number 4, settlement of dispute. Number 5, promote trilateral, multinational and regional commercialization and cooperation and expanding and promote the benefit of the trade. The point number 6, remove the barriers to trade. The number 7, facilitate the cross the goods and other service. And the point number 8, increase the investment in the other countries. In other words, the NAFTA is eliminating the barriers and conditions for a favor the goods, products and service. For 20 years, NAFTA increased the development, the manufacturing and other service for increase the employees, increase the investment, the economic, in special in Mexico is favored. But other person talking about the negative aspect and other person we talking about the positive aspect, the NAFTA. The next time, my parents in Kenya and Maria Jose, we're talking about the next points. See you.
Well, as my colleague Antonio said, since to entry in force of NAFTA trade and investment levels in all three nations have increased generating soil and steady economic growth, creating new jobs and great variety of the service consumers goods at better price. All of these benefits companies, consumers, families, and workers of the three countries. The free trade has created area in NAFTA represent a potential market 450 million people producing 11 trillion in goods and service. The progressive elimination of 30 barriers to trade and the opening of the markets have avoided economic growth and prosperity in three countries. Country grew 128% since the agreement came into to went from 287 billion in 1994 to 617 billion in 2000. The three nations trade 1.8 billion each day. NAFTA accounts for more than 25% of the world GDP. In addition, NAFTA countries have grown steadily on 2.6% each year since the agreement was signed. Growth is largely due to factor to Mexico in the third largest suppliers of the product to the United States. Imports of North America from Mexico increased with the signing of the 30 and shows the great increase of Canada. On the other hand, exports have raised considerably due mainly to existing of organic direct investment, which generate productions, chains to link employees and trade, which bring benefits in productions, cost and price. This causes Mexico to become a country generates competitive advantage when these come to Mexico products. The progressive elimination of tariffs on imports, which the NAFTA area has led to a reduction in the price of consumers, goods and production inputs, benefiting business and families. Trade liberalization benefits the producing companies, so in favor the competitions vis-a-vis the rest of the world we enjoy a greater supply and export better price. During the first 7 years of the NAFTA production in North America grew more than 30% compared with the increase almost 20% in the 7 years prior to entry in the first bilateral. Nafta has lower cost increase in consumer choice in Canada, the United States of America, and Mexico. The tariff reduction benefits the families who pay less for production devices. Since 203, bilateral multilateral trade has been duty-free for expanding the benefits of the free trade.
Talking about the NAFTA, everybody questioned about if the President Donald Trump can move from the NAFTA. Yeah, he can. He has the authority and all the right to move from the NAFTA. He can and have all the right to withdraw from the NAFTA, but just under the rules of the agreement, just under the rules. I know what you're thinking. He is like a brave person, but yeah, he can. He have all the power to move from the NAFTA. In 2008, during the campaign of Hillary Clinton, Obama, and she talk about of reporting a NAFTA to improve labor standards, but this didn't go far because this would have been disrupted. So this trade only have two options. So in the first scenario, we have a president who puts 35% in at least Mexican imports, and he wants to do it really badly. He wants to hurt that people who went out of the nation. The NAFTA implementation law, which will remain in effect until Congress repeals it, appears to give the president all the power to leave the tariff on Mexico and Canada without congressional approval. So if Trump wants to do it, he will do it. He will put a tariff and make things really hard. So if Trump imposes a 35% of tariff, this would hurt many American firms, such as General Motors, Ford, Coca-Cola, which manufactures parts and products in Mexico and ship them back to the US. Among the most popular imports include auto parts, screens of television, cell phones, telephones, and refrigerators. So just imagine, put a 35% of tariff in Mexican imports and then get it back from Mexico to the US. That would be really bad because all these companies want to record all the costs. So in a second scenario, Trump wants to make a great or the greatest deal ever. Trump has said they will only withdraw from the NAFTA if he can renegotiate the terms of the agreement to get a better deal for the workers, for the American workers. They want to give all the power back from all the countries to the US. They want to help their people. They want to help the nation. But the trade experts say they really don't know what Trump wants to do. They don't have idea what he wants to do. Also, reopening a trade agreement is not an easy task. The president really needs to put all on the table to make America great again.
Massive job losses, with businesses packing up and moving production to Mexico. Supporters, though, they claimed that it would lead to cheaper goods, and that would lead to economic growth. In fact, it was so controversial that in the 1992 presidential election, a billionaire outsider presidential candidate shot to the top of the polls railing against it. Businessman Ross Perot. Sounds pretty familiar. But NAFTA won out in the end with Congress and then President Clinton ratifying it in 1993.
We are ready to compete, and we can win.
NAFTA is a large, incredibly complicated document, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Before NAFTA, when items were imported, they were taxed. After NAFTA, they weren't. This protects goods made domestically at the expense of consumers, since the tax on foreign products is passed down. Higher tariffs, more expensive goods, less trade. Free trade agreements like NAFTA remove those tariffs, incentivizing trade and lowering costs for consumers. Tariffs were greatly reduced at the start of the agreement in 1994 and totally eliminated by 2008. So
The Economic Policy Institute, a liberal think tank, estimated in 2013 that NAFTA caused the direct loss of about 700,000 jobs because of manufacturers moved to Mexico, where wages are 30% of that of an American factory worker average. So these companies went out of the US and come to Mexico, but this didn't work for the US. All the workers lose their jobs, and that was a really big loss for the nation. So what we have like benefit in Mexico? Exports have grown by more than 500% since the 93, thanks to the growth in manufacturing, and Mexican universities are increasingly producing high-skilled workers, while firms in the aerospace, tech, and the financial industry are innovating at a rapid clip. The country's middle class grew by 11% between 2000 and 2010. So it's a great benefit here in Mexico. And if Trump wants to move from NAFTA, that Mexico needs to make a question right now. What would you do if you don't have that friend anymore? What happens if the US just moved? What happened with all the people that works in orange industries? What happened to all the people who lives in the United States and they are deporting people like war? So what happened with all the dreamers? What happened with all the person who cross the line to work and then come back to Mexico? What will happen with all the people, with all the jobs, without the expert term? The exports and imports who moves every day the economic and the financial sector.